I think we have about 20 people here in the room today. All of you are great HR professionals in your own stream, in your own areas with huge experience. So we may not be able to we don't have the time since it's just a 1 hour session. But then if maybe one or two of you could just kind of introduce yourself, you're from which organization, what is your designation and your complete name. So we'll just delve into the session right away then.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, this is Atarahman Zaki from Pakistan. I'm basically a freelance technical recruiter and I'm from the HR and administration domain from last 8 years.
Okay.
So currently I have been serving as an head of HR and administration in a software house, which name is CodeUp. It's
Okay.
located in Karachi, Pakistan.
Okay. Welcome, Ata from Pakistan. This is really transcending the boundaries of the two countries. So a warm welcome from India. Wonderful. Anyone else who would like to introduce? Maybe just one or two and then we just start. Yes, guys, I think I may be probably knowing a few of you also, but just one or two of you who could just introduce yourself. You could share your name.
Good
Yes.
afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Naveen.
This side Naveen Tiwari, and I am currently working in Hitachi Group, Manesar.
Okay.
And I am looking after the quality activities as well as the training activities also.
Okay.
So
Okay.
manpower training and quality circles and whatever the competitions related to the technical and manufacturing all over the India, I am leading that group also.
Wonderful. So
So
you are organizing.
this session is very much important for me. Like feedback, how can I receive?
Yes, 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 absolutely. It's an integral feature of any business leader, irrespective of your organization, irrespective of your industry, and irrespective of your level in the organization, right? So, all
Yes, ma'am.
right, thank you. Thank you so much. And once again, a very warm welcome to everyone. So just a little bit about me. So I have done my bachelor's in English literature from Delhi University. I am an MBA in human resources with 17 years of corporate experience. So I've also been working now as a freelancer English and soft skill trainer, facilitator for the last 8 years now. And so something little bit about me, I love traveling to new places within India, outside India. I just love to meet people anytime, anywhere. And I love training. And training is something I believe in. I truly vouch for it. I love it. And I'm so fortunate that I love what I do and I do what I love. And I really believe that training, if kind of given in the right way, delivered at the right time, can actually make a huge difference in people's life. And that is what I feel is my purpose about being a trainer. All right. So we are going to, in this short session today, we are going to understand what is feedback, why is feedback essential, types of employee feedback, the kind of feedback we can give to people, we can receive from people, the barriers to giving effective feedback, whole lot of them, and how to actually give constructive feedback. Some tips over there, how to understand what is constructive feedback and how do we really kind of deliver it, give it to our people who are with us, to our peer group, to our sometimes to our juniors, team members, and even sometimes to our bosses, right? So when we talk about feedback, what exactly do we understand by the term feedback? We often use it, right? There is no one who doesn't understand this term feedback. But what do we really, what comes to our mind when we talk about feedback? So guys, as I think few of you probably would be knowing me, would have attended my earlier sessions also, I do not take a typical conventional classroom sessions. I really, understand the fact that unless and until a session is not interactive, the learning is not the best learning that happens. So please feel comfortable to share, because there are no answers which are wrong or right over here. I think the best learning that happens in a group is from each other, less from me. And of course, you're going to also learn certain things that I'm going to share. I'm also going to learn a lot of things from you. But the best thing is that when we learn from each other within the group, right? So we have all experienced people here. So please feel comfortable and feel free to share your opinions, your answers, your queries, anything. So let's please have an interactive session today. So it's a short session. I may not be able to, kind of delve into too much of detail, but yes, we'll understand a few concepts to take back today. So yes, so what really do we understand by feedback?
Feedback, I think it's our opinion about something or somebody.
Yes, absolutely. So feedback is basically, if you understand, it's a response to a person's activity with the purpose of helping them become more effective, right? So we always kind of tend to give a feedback if we want, we as a response to what someone has done. And as you rightly said, it's your opinion on someone else's work, right? So that's a feedback. It could be positive, it could be negative, it could be informal, it could be formal. But feedback plays a vital role in every organization and even in our own personal social life, right? Okay. So when we talk about feedback in the corporate world or at the workplace, why do we feel that feedback is essential? Can we not do without feedback?
Somehow for some motivation purpose.
Okay, yes, motivation, absolutely right. What else?
Feedback is what you do.
Yes. Yes, feedback is what you do.
Basically, feedbacks helps you to evaluate things. I mean, if it's a kind of person or products, feedbacks helps you to evaluate and transform things.
Absolutely. Excellent point. It helps you to transform things, products, people, systems, processes, everything, right? So feedback is absolutely essential if given regularly, right? So if we kind of sum up and understand that why is feedback, especially at workplace, really essential, really an integral part of our working culture. So, we can see it as maybe as these 2 points, that feedback is essential to bring about a shift in a behavior or make a change in the process, in the system, in the person's attitude, work culture, or it's keep doing what you are doing, right? So let's just understand, like, just take a hypothetical situation that I'm assuming we are all married here in the room, right? So, or even if you aren't, you probably are with someone. So for example, it's your anniversary, your friendship anniversary or your wedding anniversary, and, you are really excited about it, and you kind of come back home really early and you kind of decorate the house, you get a lovely cake for your spouse, and you get some chocolates and some gifts and probably decorate the house, and your spouse walks in and it's a surprise for him or her, and he or she is like really excited and really happy about it, and the entire day goes by, you enjoy, and but he or she really, kind of doesn't say a thank you to you. It's not a heartfelt thank you to you at the end of the day. What will you do on the next anniversary or the next friendship anniversary? What will you do? You'll probably get back home really late. कि पिछली बार तो मैंने इतना कुछ किया, and she or he never even said a thank you to me. So, इस बार जाने का क्या फायदा? So it is like you really need to tell people that what they're doing is good. One cannot assume that just because it is good, just because it is right, that they are aware it is good and it is right from your perspective, right? So you need to tell them, yes, it's a good job, keep doing, keep going, right? So that kind of a continuous feedback needs to be given to your people, to your team, to your subordinates on a regular basis, so that they know what they're doing is being appreciated, is being valued, and it's actually the correct thing, right? Now let's take a second example. We are driving on a road and we are sitting with a friend or someone in the car, and suddenly we realize that we are on the highway and probably we have to go to, say for example, we have to travel to Amritsar, and by mistake we take a detour because it's a new highway over there, and we take a detour from there, and we end up missing a turn, and we end up somewhere on the road to Chandigarh, Ludhiana, that road, right? So what do? The other person sitting next to us tells us, hey, I think we have taken a wrong road. We have missed that turn. We need to go back. We need to change the route. We need to move our lanes, So we've been derailed, we've been detracked. Let's get back onto track if we want to go to Amritsar, right? So this is exactly what happens at work also. So sometimes we need to make the other person understand what that person has done is incorrect, it's not right, or it's been not done, properly, or probably the other person hasn't followed some rule. Probably the person is new to the organization, new to the team, or you are new, or something is not come up to your expectations. Whatever is incorrect, whatever hasn't happened as per the rules or regulations or the way it was planned to be, it needs to be communicated clearly to that employee, right? To that person, that you need to make a change, you need to shift, you need to retrack yourself, you need to do this, or you don't need to do this, right? So usually we give feedbacks onto these two things, that what you are doing good, you are doing great, continue doing. Or what you are doing, you are not doing okay, and let's do it this way, right? So we can kind of categorize them as in the normal layman terms. When we say, oh, that's a positive feedback, oh, that's a negative feedback, right? That's how we kind of communicate, and this is our terminology, usually what we use when we talk about feedback. Oh, that's a positive feedback, that's a great thing, that's a positive feedback, and this is a negative feedback, and especially while the performance appraisal cycle is going on, there is a whole lot of exchange and the understanding of this feedback that comes into force at that time, because that is probably one time of the year when you can't do without, giving these feedbacks, whether it's a positive feedback or it's a negative feedback. Yeah. So when we look at these feedbacks called the positive feedback and negative feedback, so there is nothing known as negative feedback. Okay. So let's reframe these terms of positive feedback and negative feedback. And so the positive feedback wherein we are really happy, wherein we really need to tell this is a good job done. We really appreciate you or your work, or we really value your time or your effort or your energy, howsoever you want to appreciate you. This is known as the appreciative feedback. Yeah. So well done, good job. Howsoever we want to, commend the other person and recommend that other person for further goals, or, we just say it loudly, loud and clear. Is it easy to give appreciative feedback? Do you find it easy to give a positive feedback to people?
Yes.
Yes. And are we doing that constantly in our teams, in our units of responsibility, or in our organizations, especially as HR people? Are we kind of constant with our appreciative feedback? So you don't have to share it here, but maybe you can just kind of think, when is the last time that you really appreciated someone at your workplace? Usually we don't appreciate. हम granted ले लेते हैं कि हाँ ठीक है, ये तो इसका काम है ना, ऐसे ही करना है, इसको टाइम पे आना है, इसको काम करना है, इसको सबमिट करना है, ये तो काम है. This is what we are paid for, right? So we kind of refrain, and we kind of forget about the good job that people do for us, and we just kind of let it be. But the moment something is not done our way, we flare up, we react, we really become angry, and we kind of instantly give that feedback to the person. This is not done at all. This report was not supposed to be done this way. Why have you submitted in time? Why is this? Why is that? Why is that? Right? So ये जो negative feedback होता है ना, ये this kind of becomes a very reactive feedback, So therefore, we are reframing this term, and we are making it known as constructive feedback. So what do we really mean by the term constructive? Something that we need to construct on, right? I believe probably almost all of you are from engineering industry, so you understand the term in its depth. What does construct mean? So when we talk about sharing a constructive feedback with our employees, with our team members, with our subordinates, we need to construct that feedback before sharing it. And what do we need to construct? We need to construct our thought process. Is it aligned with what I need to say? Am I reacting? Am I responding? We need to construct our way, how we are going to really talk about. But most importantly, we need to construct our mind. With what mind are we actually sharing this feedback to the other person? Okay, so I think before we understand this aspect of constructive feedback in a bit of detail, maybe we can just have two people over here, and we can just have a quick 2 minutes role play. Anyone wants to anyone wants to volunteer? Just two people. It's a very short one, and something that you do in and out at work every day. So just two of you.
Okay, ma'am. I am in.
Okay, Naveen, great, fantastic. One more guy, guys, with Naveen.
I will participate, ma'am. Tushar.
Okay, fantastic, Tushar. So Tushar and Naveen, will you be able to switch on your cameras? I'll just pin you up. Okay.
afternoon.
So that's Naveen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. One second. Okay, Tushar, I'll just pin you up as well. Okay, so here we have Naveen and here we have Tushar on the screen. I think everyone is able to see them. So great. So we are just going to have this quick short role play. We need one of you to become a boss and one of you to become a subordinate. And the scenario is that the boss is just feeling that every time he talks in a meeting, the subordinate or the team member is kind of always interrupting him and, not listening properly and not paying attention and cutting him off. And the boss is like really, angry about it, is upset about it. And that's what he wants to share with his teammate or his subordinate, that he's furious. I mean, he's damn irritated with him. Every time I try to talk, this guy really cuts me off. He's not listening to me. I'm his boss. How dare he does that, right? So this is the scenario. Who wants to become the boss and who wants to take the team player role? Okay,
So what will be the answer from subordinate side? These are your role play from boss side, right?
yeah. So let it be impromptu, Naveen. So you want to become the boss, Naveen?
Okay.
Okay,
As usual.
great. So Tushar, you'll become the Tushar. You are on mute.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now-
okay. Tushar, so you'll become the team leader or his subordinate, Naveen subordinate.
Okay.
All right, great. So so we can begin. Let it be an absolutely impromptu thing, and everyone just pay attention to their body language, to what they're speaking, and we're going to discuss. Yes, Naveen, you can start.
Okay. Tushar, I want to talk with you. Please come to my cabin. We need to discuss something regarding the morning meeting which we have did in the first half. So what I feel that whatever I am saying, you just not adding something in that, you just cutting my words. So is there
Not
any
just whatever the things was happen, and I'm just bring up the truth on the surface. So before you come to the conclusion, I'm just telling you the truth and what went happen at that stage. The only things that's why I just cut off your conversation in between.
so can we okay, Tushar, okay, I agree with you. So before going to any meeting, can we discuss it in my cabin first? Not with or in the okay, the department wise, we are from both from same department. And
Yeah.
before going in front of plant head or with other departments, can we discuss these things before going to meeting? It is very feasible to me also and for you also. We can be on same platform. If I am wrong, then you please correct. But if we on a same platform, then we can tell the same. We can tell the we can tell the conclusive things in the meeting. If I and you will fight in the meeting, that is not good for me also, not good for you also. So do one thing. If you are okay with this, then can we discuss all the points before going to meeting or agenda points, that what I will say in the meeting, and whatever the if I am wrong, then you can correct me before meeting also.
Yeah.
I'm not the conclusion. Is
Good.
it good?
Yes, because since I'm regularly daily in contact with the other process owners and other departments, so I have more information. And if anything is from my side, I will update you before leaving the office. I will update you what happened in the entire day. So you just thought about it, and in the morning before going to the meeting, we will discuss together what things to be discussed with the other departments and
Yes.
what is our strategies and plan. So that we will.
Definitely.
I think there's some
If
connectivity issue. Tushar, we are not able to hear you.
but I am able to hear Tushar.
Okay, am I audible properly?
Yes.
Okay, so from today onwards, we'll do this exercise. Before leaving the office, I will update what happened in the entire day, and only the key points, major key points. So accordingly, we
We
will
will
discuss
discuss in meeting.
before
Yes.
going to meeting, and we'll align first with us. Thank you.
Definitely. Definitely. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Naveen and Tushar. Well done, guys. Well done. That was excellent. Excellent. Naveen, is that the real way you kind of share feedback at your work also?
मैम
Wonderful.
बेसिकली ना मैं आपको रियलिटी बताऊं तो मेरे को ITI 12th और 10th पास को हैंडल करना होता है।
Okay. Okay.
उनके साथ यदि मैं गर्म हो जाता हूँ तो रीजन बीइंग कि उनकी सैलरी 10,000 12,000 है। उस
Hmm.
बंदे की जॉब जाएगी, वो मेरे को कुछ भी बोल देगा, उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ता, उसको 10,000 की फिर से मिल जाएगी।
Hmm.
तो मेरे को हम्बल ही प्रोटेक्ट करना होता है, क्योंकि अभी हम क्वालिटी सर्कल में गए थे, बेंगलोर गए थे, तो वहां भी एक जूनियर को कुछ कम लाइंस बोलने के लिए मैंने दी थी, तो वो मेरे पे गर्म हो गया कि सर आपने पूरे प्रेजेंटेशन में मेरे को 2-3 लाइन ही बोलने के लिए दी।
Hmm.
फिर उसको मैं अगर ये बोलता कि हाँ जो करना है कर ले, तब वो गड़बड़ हो जाती ना।
Could you please speak in English?
Okay, we can, sir, no issue.
Okay, okay. But this is excellent way of dealing. I think, Naveen, you really did a great job. So anyone wants to share how was this little role play in front of you? Any feedback? How did you feel? How did they take it up? What was the result? Was it really a constructive feedback? Anyone wants to share?
Yes, I heard the whole like scenario, and that
Yes.
was quite good, and the both did very good job.
Yes.
The one thing I want to add in this scenario, and particularly what we faced while giving the response or feedback to the employees,
Yes.
while they are managers or subordinates,
Yes.
I just wanted to share one thing that whenever you are taking the feedback or giving the feedback, the one important thing is be patient. Be
Mm.
patient, be calm, because sometime when you are giving responses or taking responses from your seniors or to your juniors, sometimes you become violent, sometimes you become aggressive, and that point makes you down in
Yes.
front of them. So this
Yes.
is the one point I just wanted to let people know.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely, Atta, absolutely. Anyone else who wants to share?
I am going to add with this conversation also.
Yes, yes, Tushar.
No, if you see in the entire industries, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is sales marketing, so no means it is the possibilities of the bosses like Naveen. What conversation we have, this type of boss is only a 10 to 20%. So always the boss or your reporting manager will not properly. So
Yes.
the subordinates or the colleague responsibility to handle this situation, to complete the bridge in between your boss or your team lead and come to the across table to with the respectful and balanced way and really very politely you to state your problems or your statement in front of your boss. If he
Yes.
then you move ahead for your next step. If
Yes.
boss response is in the disagreement, then you please stop or you convey with the another way by
Yes.
the email or any other conversation like that.
Yes, yes,
I
absolutely.
agree, ma'am. Because in most of the cases, boss thought that my colleagues or juniors are bypassing me. And
Hmm.
there's a
Exactly.
controversy generated ki he's not supporting me, he's bypassed me. So they reflect their anger in, increments also,
Yes, absolutely.
in promotions also.
Yes, 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 absolutely, absolutely. So we'll just get back to our presentation and we'll just connect the dots there. Uh, okay. So when we are talking about constructive feedback, the role play that we just saw, so I think Naveen did a fabulous job of giving this constructive feedback. You know, so constructive feedback. So basically, how do we understand what is a constructive feedback and not a negative feedback? You know, negative is something which is reactive. So had Naveen been reactive and just said ki so probably when we saw how the role play began, Naveen said, okay, why don't you come to my cabin? We want to discuss this. And I'm just feeling that you've been cutting me off for the last meeting or like whenever I talk, whatever he said, right? And did you see the moment he said, you have been cutting me off? The word you immediately put the other person in defense. Instantly, he actually cut in again and he started to defend himself. I was doing this because I thought that you were not giving the right product, whatever, blah, 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 right? And then when Naveen took it on and he became really positive, he mellowed down and he really, with huge humility, he kind of came across and he said that, if I'm wrong, please correct me. And I really want that both of us are in the same department and both of us should, before going to the plant head, if both of us could discuss this and then take it to the plant head. He constructed his words, his tonality, everything in such a positive way that you noticed that, I'm sorry, the name of the other person who became the subordinate.
Tushar.
Yeah, Tushar. Tushar, absolutely, there was a change in his attitude. And he became so positive and he became so supportive at the end of it that something that started in a negative way, in which Tushar was kind of defending himself, actually Tushar ended up saying that, yes, I will support you because I am aware of this department more, or whatever he said. And I will give you this feedback. I will give you the information and then we can discuss it and take it. So I think this was an excellent piece of constructive feedback right in front of you. And mind you guys, this was absolutely impromptu. So Naveen did a great job and so did, the other guy. So I think this is a real life scenario which we face day in and day out. Every day we need to convey certain things to our peers and to our subordinates and to our team members. But when we construct our thoughts and when we construct our mind, so when we saw how Naveen spoke, he said ki we are both from the same team, same department. Let's discuss. So it is like constructive feedback is something like when you come from that space of sharing this feedback that I really want you to do well. And this feedback is really not about putting you down or demeaning you or telling you that ye theek nahi kiya, ye kaise karte ho, why this, why that, and you have no manners and blah, 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 and this is what you do. You cut me off, I'm your boss, and what do you think of yourself? Instead of all this, you construct it from that space that, okay, this person has done this thing wrong, but what is my objective? My objective is not to lose this guy, in my team. My objective is to really counsel him to understand, so you share the constructive feedback, but you also put it in a safe space, and you come and you talk from that space wherein you come across as a person who means only well for the subordinate. So when that kind of a feedback is given, it's a non-judgmental feedback. You saw Naveen did not use any tu, मैं, ऐसा वाला कुछ भी नहीं हुआ. There was no heated argument. It could have become a heated feedback, a heated argument had Naveen not been really humble enough to kind of say that, if it is my mistake, let me know, I will correct it. This is what put the other person completely at ease. He is not bossing over me. He really means well for both of us and for our department and for the entire team. So this is how we construct our feedback. So it is probably a difficult task. It doesn't come easy at all, to construct your feedback, because we are mostly in a very reactive tone and a reactive mode at that time, especially when we are the boss. So we feel ki, how dare he does that kind of a thing, right? But it is only when we understand that I don't want to lose this guy, I really want to, like जैसे हम अपने बच्चों को नहीं समझाते हैं with so much of love and with so much of care, that it's not that you avoid talking about the negative part of it. You do share it very clearly, like Naveen did very clearly. But you also appreciate the other person. So you construct your feedback that whenever you start in a very positive way, you then give that constructive feedback about what needs to be changed or what needs to be edited or deleted, whatever actually needs to be done very specifically and very clearly to the other person without mincing words, and then go back to making that, close that feedback on a positive note. It could either be you appreciate that person. It could either be that, you make that other person feel comfortable and relaxed before that person leaves your cabin, or before you guys, call it off that session of a feedback, right? So construct that feedback. So mostly it is said that, if it's a ratio of 5:1, so you kind of appreciate that person so much that in between you give that little one bit of that, that negative feedback or the actual feedback you want to share. You do give, you don't refrain from not giving. क्या रे, ये तो मतलब मैं कैसे बोलूं उसको? You don't refrain it, but you construct it in that way, right? So good job, guys, for that thing. So let's in the same scenario, let's just see how in this video, how they deal with the same scenario, this feedback.
Well, thank you, Susie, for taking the time to meet with me today. It really means a lot to me to be open and honest with you. Our work relationship is important to me, so I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. I had something I wanted to talk to you about. Lately, I've been feeling like you haven't really been fully listening to me, or really valuing or respecting any of my ideas or input. For example, the other day in our meeting, when I was right in the middle of giving an opinion on something, I felt like you interrupted me mid-sentence and never really came back to me. It made me feel like my feedback or my input was not valued. It also made me feel embarrassed in front of the other people in the meeting. So I just wanted to make you aware that that's how I felt.
Yeah, that's hard to hear, but I appreciate you letting me know. I'm hearing that you're feeling embarrassed and not valued because I've interrupted you or cut you off in meetings.
I did feel a little embarrassed the other day. Yeah, it didn't feel good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to admit, this is something that I've received feedback on in the past. And so it's something that I really know that I need to work on. I really am committed to working on this, and I'm gonna really make an effort to be more self-aware. And it would be helpful to me too if, you know, you gave me some follow-up feedback, or I can check in with you later to make sure that I am, you know, giving you what you need. Yeah.
So yeah. So yes, so in this video, we saw two aspects of feedback, right? One was giving feedback of the same scenario that we had the role play on. And one was also receiving feedback. The other person, did you see the body language of the other person? That how, I think one of you also mentioned correctly over here, that how do we really receive this feedback with so much of patience? That we let the other person speak whatever the other person has to speak. You don't butt in, you don't cut in. You listen to the other person patiently as to what he has to say, he or she has to say. And then when you get to talk, you also kind of thank the other person for sharing this feedback, because sharing a feedback is not easy for anyone. You know, sharing a negative feedback is not easy. Imagine this boss, we don't know. This was probably, she would have felt furious, and she would have probably thought to herself that let me first calm down and then speak to her. You know, and so you see in the feedback session in the video that she was absolutely non-reactive. She said everything absolutely clearly to her subordinate, but she was non-reactive. You know, she said without mincing word, I felt embarrassed, I felt bad, but there was no reaction in her voice, right? There was no anger, there was no raising of the pitch. There was not saying that I'm the boss, you're the subordinate, how dare you kind of thing. It was a very positive and ideal kind of a feedback session that happened. And you saw the body language of both the women, and especially the one who was receiving the feedback, right? She was patient, she was hearing, and then she paraphrased what she heard. So she said that, okay, so I hear that I have been cutting you off. I hear that, you know, so it is like making the other person also understand that, okay, I get it. What are you really saying? I get it. I understand it. So this is a technique of even receiving feedback. So whenever we are receiving a formal feedback, we must be able to paraphrase it or to probably repeat it or ask in such a way so that both of you are on the same page. You know, the person who is giving the feedback also knows that the person who's taking the feedback is receiving it, is receptive to it, and, you know, has kind of taken it in, right? So it is like, it's always a two-way process. So we kind of give feedback and we also receive feedback, right? So we need to understand both these things correctly. So one can't be just good at giving feedback and awful at receiving feedback. It won't work, right? And somewhere we are always in the middle. Wherever we are at the corporate, we're always in the middle, means that we will have a boss who is above us, and we will have a subordinate who's below us. So we are somewhere in the middle, which means that we will get a feedback, we will also give feedback, right? So both the techniques, both the skills of giving feedback and receiving feedback are equally essential, you know, in understanding how to really have, you know, and work on these feedback sessions, right? Okay, so what kind of barriers do we feel that whenever we need to give constructive feedback to people, we sometimes feel it is difficult? Do we find it difficult to give feedback sometimes?
Yes.
It's difficult, right? Why do we find it difficult?
Due to designation of senior.
Okay. No, so suppose you have to give feedback to your subordinate or to your team member, and it's a difficult thing that you need to share, or it's something really negative about that person's performance or that behavior issue, then why isn't it very easy to share that feedback with the other person?
He or she can degrade the quality of work.
Yes, yes, absolutely correct. Yes. So when we look at that big picture, that oh, isko to, ye agar negatively le gaya, to my work will actually get affected, in the team. Yes, he may become demotivated. Yes, you may have had a past experience where you've given a feedback and it was taken in a very hostile way, or probably the person got demotivated, or the person wasn't able to handle that feedback. And, as human beings, and especially when at work, it's sometimes hard to discuss the negative aspects of the other person, right? So it's easier to say, well done, but it's really tough to tell, oh, you have not done well. No, a regret letter is difficult to share. It's easy to say that, wow, you got promoted, and it's extremely hard and sometimes really um really tough to kind of share that, yeah, you deserve this promotion, but it hasn't really happened for you this time. So this is also a feedback you need to give, why you've not been able to promote this absolutely well-deserving candidate for the well-deserved promotion, right? So it's sometimes hard to discuss negative aspects because we are all human beings, right? We are all ultimately, no matter what, we are all at the end of it, we are all humans, irrespective of our designation and our work experience. Ultimately, we are all human beings, and it's hard. It's hard to kind of talk negative and talk painful, and it's not very easy to get it across, right?
One more thing
Yes,
I would like to add is the uncertainty about of the outcome. That is one
yes,
of the biggest thing that we sometimes fear about sharing someone's feedback and all that stuff, because
yes,
there's sometime often uncertainty about whether the feedback will lead to the positive change.
yes.
This doubt can make sometime effort feel risky and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely. We are not sure how the other person is going to handle it. How is it going to take it? It may just go wrong. You may have a good intent to share, but then it may not be taken well. So it may just go completely wrong against you. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So,
Also one more
yes,
thing is the culture factors, because every organization has different cultures.
yes,
And in some cultures direct feedback might be considered rude or
yes.
inappropriate. So that's also one more part.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, excellent point shared. Excellent point shared. Yes, it really depends on the culture of the organization. Some organizations only are into formal feedbacks, and they do not kind of share informal feedbacks ever with anyone around. And it may just kind of be as hard and as tough to share that feedback. Yes, absolutely correct. Yes, yes, yes. So what do we do? How do we break these barriers? Any suggestions from all of you here?
One view I would like to share, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So, see, according to me, as you are asking the remedy, also called the uh, find out the best way this should not be happen. I think
Yeah.
before giving the feedback, we should take a one step in advance, that is sharing the complete process, updating the candidate about the procedure or the policy or the requirement that we being expect and demand from that role and the person is. So certainly we shall give the feedback over a period of time so that the requirement of the organization or the objective can meet the expectation. But before that, I think we should spare some time to educate the employee, explain the complete process, do the hand holding for a short while so that employee can be independent or confident enough to deal or to operate the process independently and then
Yes.
expect the result. And post that we may give the feedback whether
Yes.
they met the expectations of the organization or not, and then have to decide whether the outcome of that result or the process is meeting the expectation or not, and then go about for to touch that area how to deliver the feedback, because new generation not easily take and accept the uh, feedback, be it constructive or the harsh. They think that whatever we have delivered and performed is right, good, and they are just for the fault findings or running after of my life. But I think before coming to that, and as a conclusion or as a remedy, one should has to invest the proper time, hold the hand, uh, deploy or give the adequate amount of time to train the resource so that he
Yes.
and she can be capable to deliver and to meet the expectation, because in a day or two we cannot so demanding or we are very, it will be very early to judge otherwise. You are not delivering what the me or my role demands and expects. So that is what I feel.
Right. Thanks, Kushangra, for sharing this. So yes, absolutely, one needs to kind of constantly handhold, and what Kushangra I understood is Kushagra, right? So what he probably is trying to say, that we need to not just give feedback once upon a time kind of a thing, but we, while hand holding, we kind of explain things and we kind of constantly give this feedback, which makes it easier for the person to understand. Yes, absolutely correct. And one more way, since we cannot get into discussion since we need to close also. So one big way of understanding how to ease out our process of sharing constructive feedback is to give more appreciative feedback. So it happens that when we appreciate people, we kind of build a bond with them. We, what you call, we pass on those positive vibes to the other person. If someone thinks positive about you, you automatically feel good about that other person, right? So if we constantly keep sharing positive feedback with people on even smallest thing, Dan, you don't have to kind of wait for someone to receive an award or an adulation, and then you kind of go and shake hand and say, congratulations, well done. You can generally just say it in the, say Monday meetings or a regular kind of a thing, or informally while walking across also, you can just kind of share anything, right? So if we kind of build in that kind of a culture of sharing positive feedbacks constantly, communicating with the other employees constantly about what they're doing good, it becomes easier for you to share the constructive feedback also with the other person. Because when that bond is there, that trust is there, that positive vibe is there, then it is a high probability that when you share this kind of a constructive feedback with the other person, he's likely to take it positively, because he trusts you कि ये मेरे को अच्छा भी बोलता है, सिर्फ negative नहीं बोलता है. Like he also talks positive. So this person has a balanced approach, and I can look up to this person, or I can trust this person with his words, because he appreciates me and he also tells me where am I wrong. So it like how we are parents and we guide our children, we also appreciate the child, and we also tell where the child is not up to the mark, right? So it's that kind of a So when we focus consciously on sharing positive feedbacks as a part of a culture, a team culture, or a department culture, or an organization culture, we kind of ease out this barrier of giving a good, positive, constructive feedback to the employee, right? And second point is that when we are, whenever we think about feedback, we always think it's about the other person. कि इसने गलत किया, this person hasn't reported in time, this person has been late, this person hasn't followed up with me, this person hasn't complied to the process or the system, or whatever the thing, right? It's whenever, so there is a barrier in giving a constructive feedback because we think it's a negative feedback, because we think that it's about the other person. But when we kind of, one good way of understanding a constructive feedback, it's not about the other person. It's actually about me. It's actually about I. How? Because I am feeling that way. I am feeling upset. I am angry. I am anxious. I'm irritated. I'm bugged. My ego is punctured. It's me. It's about me. So I need to, when I give these constructive feedback to my employees, the focus, if I bring it on me and we talk with that focus, like how we saw in the role play, that if it is me, that I need to be corrected, please let me know. So it is like when we saw that little video where this lady was sharing that I felt embarrassed. She did not say, you made me feel so embarrassed in front of these 20 people. She did not point out. She said, I felt embarrassed. I felt upset. So you are actually conveying the same thing. But the way you are talking is making hell of a difference. If you talk you, then it's a negative feedback. If you ask questions like why, it's accusatory. And the moment you accuse the other person, there goes the entire feedback out of the window. It will never reach its conclusion, right? Because the other person is already shut himself up. The other person is already ready to defend and not take the feedback at all. So it will never be a productive feedback if we kind of continue to accuse. So therefore, be calm, relax, understand the fact that this feedback is about me. I just need to convey how I am feeling to the other person. So when we kind of start thinking it in this reverse order about the feedback, we'll be able to cross all barriers to, share this constructive feedback, and we feel comfortable and relaxed while sharing this feedback. Okay, so let's just come to the last slide. Okay, so we understood what is constructive feedback, why do we need to give constructive feedback, and so how do we really give it now that we have understood that, okay, it's not about him, it's about me, and now do we need to go and give this constructive feedback? So what are the tips to give a positive, a productive feedback, constructive feedback to the employee, right? So first is do it now. So it's like, the moment, you want to say thank you to someone, you do not wait for a week to go by and say, oh, it's weekend, I'm going to thank this person. You just go and say, oh, thank you so much for the lift, or thank you so much for this work, or thank you so much, right? You do not delay that gratification. So you kind of just say it there and then, and you do it now. Right? So if it is a positive feedback, or even if it's a constructive feedback, do it now, very closer. So do it now because you want to emphasize on the fact that if you immediately respond to that other person's behavior, then it becomes clear whether you want that behavior to be reinforced, that is, it's appreciative feedback, or you want a change in that behavior, which means it's a constructive feedback. But do it closer to the date of the episode. how it has happened, right? Like how we do not, if there is something important that we need to do, we do not wait for days to go by. We do not wait that we are going to document it and then call up and then research on it and then we are going to go, right? We just go and do it because it's important. So feedbacks are important. So whether it's a positive feedback or it's a constructive feedback, they are important. We need to work on them now. Then second is be specific. So sometimes we just, just say that, oh, the meeting went so well, well done. You did a good job, and we feel that's the end of the feedback. I have praised that my team mate, or my subordinate. I've praised from myself. We feel great about it. But how does the employee know that, okay, if you've said that the meeting went extremely well, good job, or I don't think the meeting went really well today, it wasn't really great. But then how does the other person understand what needs to be replicated? What went well? What did not go well? How? So, things like adjectives like good, bad, right, wrong, these are very subjective. You need to explain, you need to be specific. So for example, you'll say, the meeting went well. So you can be specific in saying that, I really thought that your body language in that meeting was absolutely positive. Your eye contact was excellent. And you were able to kind of, bring about the best in everyone sitting there. People who were not even, you usually do not even participate and keep passive in the meetings, you were able to make them feel so comfortable and they were able to open up and share their own opinions and their own, and it was a positive discussion. So well done, the meeting was great. I'm proud of you. So you are absolutely specific to the point that the guy understands that, okay, I need to do this. I need to replicate this in my next meeting. Also, this is how I'm going to progress. Or something like be specific with the constructive feedback that this report wasn't good. What is so not good about this report, So being specific means I'm so proud of you that, or you say that, okay, if it's a constructive feedback, so you're going to say that this report, if it would have been submitted, probably in time, it would have been really good, and we would have had a great impression with the client. Nevertheless, this is how you can do it, and then you can give a future action plan to be done, right? But be extremely specific as to how, or say, for example, even for the meeting. So meeting didn't go well. So you need to explain and be very specific why the meeting didn't go well. So I thought that, though you started the meeting really well, but somewhere, you were kind of looking down and you were little quiet and the people weren't so participative in the meeting. So this is what you can do to improve the participation in the meeting henceforth, the next Monday meetings. Or so be absolutely specific in giving feedbacks, right? The third is connect to the purpose. So only giving a feedback, well done, or not doing good, or even getting into the specific, try to connect the entire feedback to the bigger picture. So to the bigger picture of the department or of the division of the organization, this is how, you are contributing with this great effort to the entire team. This is how the team is benefiting. This is the cost saving that has happened, or this is how we've had this repeat client because of your performance or because of your timeliness, So you need to make the other person feel that he or she is contributing to the organization's objectives very clearly through his behavior or through his performance or through his work. So the other person must feel absolutely a person of purpose and meaning in that organization, in that department, must feel valued, right? And the fourth point is like how we say that reprimand in private and praise in public, But I have written praise in public, maybe. So sometimes we also have people who sometimes, do not appreciate this kind of a public adulation. some people are introverts. They just may just feel embarrassed when, you know, in front of 50 people, you appreciate them. I mean, everyone likes to be praised, but some people, I mean, like, you know, people, you know, when you work with them for a longer period of time, you understand their dynamics, you understand their personality type. And so if that person is probably not very comfortable to be praised in front of public or feels embarrassed, then you can always go up to that person and you can always say that, hey, I'm extremely proud of you. You've done really well. This report was submitted so well in time, in spite of all the odds being against us. And I really want to appreciate you. How do you think, you know, I can appreciate you, so that I don't only appreciate you, but it also becomes a takeaway for everyone in the team. You know, so do you think I can bring this up in the next Monday morning meeting? Do you think you'll be comfortable? So it's a maybe thing, you know, but then do not refrain from, again, sharing that feedback, a positive one or a constructive one, you know, privately or publicly with that employee or the team member, right? So, so this is in short what I really wanted to share for today's session.